Americans receive nearly 130 million robocalls a day. How do we make them stop? Plus, North Carolina comes to an agreement with drug distributors for opioid treatment and recovery. Attorney General Josh Stein is with us for the next 15 minutes to talk about all that and answer all your questions about what's going on in our state. Get those questions answered by texting them to us at 336-379-5775. So let's start with the opioid settlement. It's a big win for North Carolina. Why are the drug companies paying us this money?
It's a huge win, not only for North Carolina, but the entire country. It's the second largest state attorney general settlement in the history of the United States, only exceeded by the Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement from 23 years ago. The reason the opioid distributors and manufacturers are finally paying is because attorneys general across the country are fighting to hold them accountable for the role they played in creating and fueling the opioid epidemic that has been devastating people, families, communities all across this country.
So the tobacco money, you mentioned that. There's been plenty of stories over the years about not all of that actually going to fight tobacco-related issues. What's being done to make sure this opioid money actually goes where it's needed?
That is a real concern, Ben. We want this money to actually go to address the consequences of the crisis. And so it's very explicit in the agreement that the funds can only be used to abate the crisis. And there is a menu of evidence-based strategies that have been used here in North Carolina and across the country to make a difference in people's lives. Things like treatment programs, recovery services, harm reduction strategies. And we spell out specific programs that different counties, cities, and the state can use the funds for. The other thing is that the money is going both to the state and to local governments, which means that there'll be more distribution across North Carolina. And so we're confident, because there will be a court order backing it up, that the governments that will be using this money will use it for the right reason.
So when do they cut the first check on all of this for us?
It will be in April, assuming everything goes well. What we have finalized is the deal. And then over the next 30 days, the states have to sign on to it. North Carolina is already committed to doing so. I was honored to be one of the two lead states heading up this bipartisan effort of attorneys general. The other was Tennessee Attorney General Herbert Slattery, a Republican. And 14 of us, Republicans and Democrats alike, worked together to achieve this. So we need to get to a critical mass of states over 30 days, and then another 120 days of critical mass of local governments to sign on. And I am confident that we will achieve that here in North Carolina. Some 53 counties and cities have already signed on to the memorandum of agreement that governs how the money will be allocated here in North Carolina. So we're hoping as soon as April, the funds will start flowing. We'll get another payment in July, and then every July thereafter.
And I think it's really important to note that this is almost like a generational change because the money comes in for so long.
It does. And this is a deep-seated chronic problem. Opioid addiction is not something you can snap your fingers and make go away, although, of course, we wish we could. It takes hard work, treatment, recovery. Sometimes they're a relapse, but then they will go back into treatment and recovery and live a life where they're free of the dependence on that chemical that has controlled too much of their day-to-day lives for too long. So we want this to be done over years, and we want it to make a difference in people's lives so they can live happy, healthy lives.
Speaking of making a difference in people's lives, I guarantee while we've been talking, someone watching out there has gotten a robocall somewhere. I'm sure of it. What do we do to make those stop?
Well, I am focused like a laser on this problem and have been. We negotiated a series of agreements with the large phone companies for their cooperation in our fight against robocalls. One, they have to cooperate on investigations to help us identify the targets who are perpetrating these calls. And we're taking them to court. I've got an action in Texas. We had a big resolution on a case against the largest do not call penalty in the history of the country against Dish Network. And so we're going to litigate, hold them accountable. We need cooperation with phone companies. They've also deployed technologies to screen out a lot of the calls. I think that One thing that we see now is you'll see an alert that comes on your phone. Instead of just the phone number, it will often say robocall alert or spam call or something to tip you off that it might be a bad call. There's another technology called Stir Shaken, which will address the spoofing issue where the phone number looks like it's coming from another phone number. We're having a digital fingerprint on every phone call so that they cannot misrepresent the place of origin on the phone call. Many of these calls are originating offshore in foreign countries, but they make it look like they're coming right from next door with your area code and your three-digit prefix. And we want to stop all the spoofing, and that will help us identify the bad actors. And finally, part of our strategy is to go after the phone companies that are making money with every robocall that uses their network. They turn a blind eye and make fractions of a penny on every call. We want to hold them accountable for their role in this incredible annoyance, which is worse than an annoyance. It's a source of incredible amount of fraud on vulnerable people.
And we're going to talk about some of that fraud coming up after the break. Also, get your questions answered. Text them to us right now, 336-379-5775.